Hey everybody, it's Thursday, February 28th, early afternoon. Today I want to talk to you about a favorite subject, and that is money, dinero, dollar signs. How many of you enjoy money? Say I. I. How many of you have always felt that you've had trouble with money? I. How many have you felt like you were always poor and could never achieve financial freedom and wealth? I. How many of you want to achieve these things? I. Well, there's many things that I have learned along the way, which I'm currently involved in right now, re-implementing into my daily life. Just started about a month ago. Um, First, I want to talk to you about wealth. And what is wealth for you? Well, to some, it might be having $50 million in your bank account, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinions, choices, etc. For me, my wife, and many people I've been meeting recently, wealth for them is not having to work, having love in your life, not just from a partner, but friends, family, people who care about you. Being able to travel and see the world and have fun, and to live without sickness, stress, or as little sickness and stress as possible. Um, and what else? Having your own family and having the same thing for your own kids. To me, that's wealth. That has nothing to do with materialism, capitalism, having a big bank account, being able to spend. That has nothing to do with it. And it's not, some people say, oh, well, it's because you're poor and you're not able to. No. They can think whatever they want, but the fact of the matter is, for my truth, that is what wealth is for me. Now, here on this planet, it's unfortunate and good at the same time that currency is required to function here on this planet. And what is currency? Currency is a means of exchange for goods and services. And currency is also energy, which is connected to the energies of the universe. And for all you science people and medical people, it's been proven that the universe is full of energy, like gamma energy and electrons, protons, neutrons, and so on, which exists here on this planet, and within and electromagnetism as well, which exists within our own bodies. So, where am I going with this? Well, for the wealth, like I said, it's your choice, but for me and many people I know, what I've learned, and this is the hardest part, which goes back to one of my older videos, is losing the fear of money and creating a positive environment within your mind, your body, your soul, your space, and the people around you. And if you can manage to keep those positive vibes high, you will always be wealthy. Why? Because the universe gives back to you what you put out there. It only knows one type of energy. And I would say roughly between 75 and 80% of being not only rich financially or financially free, which will vary for everyone, there's no right or wrong, versus wealth, and wealth and financial wealth is psychological. 75 to 85% is meaning if you can, on a constant basis, give or take, sometimes you might have a mental setback, but that's okay. If you can keep a positive mindset, you will always be wealthy. And this is something that I'm still working with. But since I've been able to change my mindset over the past couple of years, I've become more of a money magnet. Am I rich? To some, no. But am I free? Yes. We always have food. We go out. Cars paid for, rents paid for. We see friends. We can travel once in a while. We go to a concert, whatever. Um, and to tell you the truth, uh, even if I had $50 million, for me personally, I really don't think my life would change much. I travel a bit more. I might get some toys, maybe a classic car, whatever. But that's really all. And what I would do is I would donate a lot, to poor countries. I would make sure, if it's even possible, to make sure that the money would get to where it's supposed to. Many organizations, without naming any, don't always get the money where it's supposed to. Instead, it goes to somebody's cubicle for a computer instead of food for people in a foreign country. Or I'd help build a school, rainforest, donate for polar bears, you name it. Um, and with this belief system along the way, you'll probably find that you lose people who you thought were friends. If they can't stay along your side and support you, then just because you're trying to make your life better, then they're probably not friends in the first place. And if they're family members, well, you don't really want to go against family, so you just keep them at a distance, but still be polite and interact with them, and don't share too much information. Um, Basically, where I'm going with this, we'll get into the financial part of it in a few moments. In terms of the psychology, eliminating the fear of money, eliminating the fear of living, and opening yourself up more to receiving and feeling and having the feeling of deserving and self-worth. That will change your life tremendously. And I've been gradually working on that, and it's a work in progress. It's a stage, um, and it takes time, I know, but when it comes down to it, you will feel amazing, and things will really start to change in your lives. You'll start meeting people who are more on your wavelength, if you will, people who care about you, who will stick their neck out for you. Put it this way, if you have a buddy who lives close by, or somebody you think is a friend, and they're maybe 15 minutes away, and you need a boost for your car, a simple boost, just connecting two cables from one car to another, and they can't be bothered, like maybe they're really stuck somewhere where they're not in a position to, but only they will know. Perhaps if they're at home watching TV and they leave you out hanging, they're not really friends. And it's sad to lose people you think were friends, but that's the way it is. Unfortunately, here, because some people might not be on the same wavelength, ready or willing to make changes in their lives to make things better for themselves and their families. Now, so psychological key is to try and eliminate your fear of money, of life, of you name it. Eliminating fear. And then there is the aspect of opening yourself up, of deserving, for all you spiritual meditation type of people, and that's your heart chakra. Meditation on your heart chakra and on a whole, clearing energy blockages will help with that. And being healthy, eating well, getting some exercise, but of course talking to your doctor first. Laughing, having fun. Laughter is an amazing medicine. Keeping chemicals and toxins out of your body as much as possible. Your body's a temple, so treat it as such. If you were, unless it's, put it this way, if you were to put fruit into your car instead of gasoline, what would happen to it? It wouldn't work, it wouldn't go anywhere. So the same is for you. Put good things into your body, you take care of yourself. that'll help create a more positive environment for your body and healing in your own way. Financial, well, this is a whole ball of wax. And a lot of this will go back to my video about choices in life. Well, like I said, I've shared in other videos, we owe me less than 10 grand because of wedding expenses and travel. And like I said in previous videos, we had enough to pay for everything in cash, but because of timing with my mother's passing, timing of my insurance for my recovery process, we ended up having to use it for 6 weeks instead of paying it for the wedding, and I'll get into that in a moment. Well, put it this way, and here's another part of psychology. When we thought we were down and out, I recently heard a story about this big billionaire in the 80s and 70s who built himself up to a $500 million or so company in his early 60s, and then lost it all because he merged with another company. Even though it did well the first year, it went from 70 million to over $1 billion. Something went wrong and he ended up losing $500 million. He was homeless. And within a few years, he managed to get back like $200 million by the age of 70. So things can change if you really want them to. And if you're saying, well, how? I'm stuck in a place that's existing of war. Everybody's situation is relevant to them. But all I will say on that subject is we've met a lot of people over the years who have left war-torn countries, ended up over the years bringing their families over and are doing much better. Would a millionaire consider them poor? Probably, because they're only making anywhere from $40,000 to $70,000 a year, but they're free. They're not stuck in war. Their families are healthy, and so on. So that's a choice. Anyway, financial. Well, there's a system that always worked for me when I was younger, and it was building up money until things in life happened, and that's something to take into consideration too. Things happen sometimes. Basically, what I call it is the envelope system or bucket system. You got one for security, which should be anywhere from 2 to 6 months worth of your monthly income between yourself or your partner combined, in case something happens. And I admitted over the past year or so things were really tough. We didn't have that security, which is why we ended up having to use our wedding money to live for 6 weeks. It was unfortunate, but we've started to re-implement these techniques, or I also call it the envelope system, meaning of one for security, one for amusement, one for investing, and one for monthly expenses. So whether you can only put in $50, $100, $1,000, $12,000, $100,000, whatever it is, depending on your current status, you put it away, you don't touch it, it's not there for the security. Then it's the monthly expenses and amusement, travel, going out to eat, whatever that, and investing. Personally, you could invest in your own business. I don't like investing in stocks or things too volatile, but it's all a choice. Money markets apparently are more secure, mutual funds, etc., and so on. And the big key here is to spend less than you earn. That includes food, your rent or mortgage, bills, etc. If you're spending more than you earn, then you're never going to get stable or financially free. So start with the envelope or bucket system. When I was younger, I've seen $20 turn into $2,000 in a period of a couple months doing that. and I didn't even notice the loss. Um, there's other choices to make as well. If you're somebody who, let's say, has a $300,000 or $150,000 house, you might want to think about selling your house, moving into something smaller, or renting an apartment. We're currently renting a two-floor townhouse. Because why? Because buying a house is it will lose value as time goes on. Let's say you invest $10,000 in renovations. 2 years later, one of you or your partner loses your job, like what happened to many people in 2008. You lose your job, and you end up losing your house. Well, guess what? Not only did you lose the down payment, but you lost all the money in renovations you put in. Um, so this is another choice. I personally recommend, if you're trying to get back on your feet and stable, selling your house or property, moving into something smaller, and perhaps a condo or renting an apartment. And if things are really bad, you can either find roommates, which will suck for a while, or move back home with your parents if they'll have you, or close family members. I know many people who do that. And as for employment, well, if you really want to start your own business, if you're a spiritualist or somebody who has visions but don't have the means to do it, there's other means to do it. There's loans if your credit is still decent. That's something else I'll get into in a moment. If your credit is decent, you can get loans. Like I said, or if you've had to file bankruptcy, you can move into a relative's house, hopefully, or a friend's house, or get roommates in an apartment. That way, you don't have to worry about property taxes, repairs, renovations, etc. And these are all choices in life, which you'll have to make if you're willing and able and ready to do that. Here's another example. My wife and I have recently cut our cleaner services, which was once a month, for about $80. We're doing it ourselves. Things were really tired for a while. We did bits of cleaning here and there in between the month. But we're going back to cleaning. We didn't always have this service. It was only for the past few months or so. We just recently started, we're in Canada, we started shopping for groceries in the States because it's cheaper. But the thing you have to be careful with about food there is there's less regulation. I don't know how it is in other parts of the world, but I'm just generally talking. And yes, there's always going to be a situation who's worse than yours. And hopefully those people who have worse than yours will be able to find a way to make lives for themselves better. But from a general point of view is what I'm talking about. And if you're depressed, I know people who are depressed and ended up moving back home, and then started to get back on their feet with a little job, and then they started doing what they wanted to do. Um, to put it this way, with food, we could still buy good food. We always check the ingredients and so on. We could buy anywhere from 10 days to 2 weeks worth of food for the cost of 1 week here in Canada. It's unfortunate, but that you got to eat still. And gasoline, if you're really in no place to be having a car, sell it. Very often I take public transit. I don't recommend buying a new car because a car just depreciates in value as time goes on, and you got to put money into it to maintain it. So the next car that I'd buy is probably maybe a 2011 or 10, but something with low mileage, because usually the lower mileage cars are signs that it hasn't been used a lot. Leases, there's lots of ways. TV, if you don't need your TV a lot, yeah, it's nice to have. Don't worry, cut it. You can find most of your programs online. I'm not going to get into the specifics of it, the specifics of it, um, because there's too much into that. But you can do a bit of research on your own on that. Stay legal, if you can help it. I don't recommend doing illegal activity online for media. If you can't afford internet, there's cafes, etc., friends, whatever. Cell phones. I don't. Even though I'm in a 3-year deal, it's because it was a better offer than I had on my month to month, and plus the newer technology I was offered, so it worked out for me and my wife. But I don't recommend going into anything that's month to month. Home and car insurance, you can get lower quotes and rates. You'll have to look into it. Do you really need to go to the country club? No. There's so many things you could do to cut. You'll have to look at these and create a budget, and a budget within a budget. And going out, if you have to stop going out every, twice a week and eat at home more, do it. You can make your own shampoos. Uh, there's recipes online. Um, but toothpaste you can make your own. Cleaners you can make your own out of things like vodka and lemon and so on. There's so many things you can do to save money and get yourself back on your feet. And once you start doing that, you're going to start seeing the changes. For example, what I've done, I took a line of credit at several about 6 something percentage, which paid most of my one of my credit cards and with our wedding expenses. Then I switched my other card. I did a balance transfer to instead of 19.99% interest rate, I switched it to 11.99, and that allow you to pay things back faster. Hopefully you can do these things. If not, there's other ways. You'll have to just save and do some of the techniques that I mentioned with the envelopes or bucket system, and decrease your spending, but still live, and eat well. Like, for example, I've known guys who were obsessed with having an Audi or BMW, but they only worked for like $14 an hour. They live in a small little one-bedroom apartment, um, and worked a second job just to pay for this car. Is it really worth it? Is a choice, but for me, no. Something like that is not worth it. It's all about choices. You can rebuild yourself. It just takes the time, the patience, the mindset, and you will in time. And we're slowly doing that ourselves, and we're already starting to see the changes. And once you get starting to back on your feet, you basically want to have a money machine that will make money for you while you're sleeping. And it's all a choice. I'm not going to get into the specifics of those, but there's so many ways you can save money, with to name a few. And once you start doing these things and change your mindset, things will change for you. Like I said, I've lost track of it over the past few years, but we've started to get back to them, and we've already started to see little changes. And if you lose friends or people who don't want to talk to you, they're not friends or people you'd want to be talking to anyway. So just do your thing, take care of yourself. That's what's the most important here. And you will get better, trust me. Anyway, I gotta go, but I wish you all a good afternoon, and be well.